What's up guys, I'm going to show you how to change the lower unit oil on a 250 Mercury Pro XS. So some things you're going to need, the essentials. You're going to need your gear lube, you're going to need a pump that screws into the bottle that then screws into the motor. As far as the lube goes, with Mercury products, either Quicksilver or Mercury is what I always use. You're going to need two of these little yellow gaskets. You're not supposed to reuse these. There's like a little smash gasket, basically a piece of metal in there that helps hold your seal, so you need two of those. You're going to need a socket to get your prop off, and the appropriate ratchet that goes with it. 1/2-inch drive usually is your best bet since they have a little bit of torque on the nut there. And then you're going to need like a piece of wood or a piece of rubber or something to wedge in between this here and your prop whenever you go to take this off. So the first thing we're going to do is take this prop off, because your fill plug is down here actually, inside like this cavity here. You can't see it. And then your overflow plug that you need to take out is right here. All right, so here's my piece of wood. I'm not joking when it can literally just be a piece of wood, something you find in the woods, or 2x4, or really anything in here that is not going to damage your prop when you get it wedged in there. So get it wedged in there like so, and you can start to loosen this up. So a 1/2-inch ratchet with a little extra leverage is preferred. And it's also a very smart idea to keep all of this in your boat. I keep everything I need and a spare prop in my boat to change a prop in case you ever lose an ear or something. You're not stuck without the tools to fix it. So take your nut off, and you've got two washers that come off with it. I like to take everything and stack it in the order that I took it off the boat so I don't lose it. I got a little milk crate here. I was kind of putting everything in since I'm doing this out by the boat ramp. Then slide your prop off. Careful with your prop, they are expensive. All right, so here's the drain screw. The next thing we're going to do is trim this motor back down so this plate here is level, and then I'll loosen that up and then loosen this top vent up with a flat screwdriver and drain the lower unit oil out of here. Now this set screw here is the classic 10mm, so I'm going to crack this open. Never mind my homemade drain pan. This is my little mobile setup here. I didn't want to bring my real drain pan from home. Take this out. You're really not going to get anything that comes out of this yet until you pop that top screw and let it vent. You'll get maybe a little bit, but hardly any. Alright, so the first thing we're going to look at when you pop this out is see if it's oil. Make sure there's no water. You do not want to have water come out of here. If there is water in your lower unit, that's going to be the first thing that drops out of here, and you'll be able to tell right away. Now my little homemade drain pan right here is probably going to look a little milky, look like there's a little bit of water in here since I just took the boat out and water's draining in there. But for the most part, you can see the oil coming out of here is pretty dark, pretty used. So it's a good thing that I'm starting to change this. It's the main thing I'm doing it is because it's getting ready to freeze. And you know, if you have any water in your lower unit, that can expand and cause this casing here to crack, and that's expensive. You don't want to do that. So it's cheap insurance to change it at least every time before it freezes. Now when I pop this leader screw up here, that's when it's really going to start pouring out of there, because you're breaking the seal, letting air come through. You can see it starting to pour out. So that oil's definitely got a little bit of time on it. I think I changed it early June, right before we went on our big fishing trip. So it's probably got at least 50 hours on it, maybe closer to 70 hours. And I just give that plenty of time to drain. So another thing to look for in the oil as it's coming out and in the pan itself is you're looking for like an excess amount of metal shavings. If you see that, there's probably a slight issue with your lower unit. It could be a bearing going out, whatever. Something is causing excessive metal to wear faster than it should. It is okay to see very tiny flakes and like smaller amounts, especially if it's a brand new gear case, kind of from getting it broken in. But after the unit's been used for a while, or it's got a couple seasons in it or something, you shouldn't really see any excessive metal pieces in there. If you do, that's usually indication that you're beginning to have some sort of problem somewhere within the gear case. Now that's had plenty of time to drain, pop a hole into your gear oil here and get your little pumper out and get that connected. This thing is just totally covered in oil. All right, now this piece here, if you can see, is threaded and it spins kind of independently on here. This goes into your drain hole. Get it snug. And one thing I do want to mention as you're filling this up is you want this to be level. That's an ideal scenario. It doesn't have to put a level on it, but just eyeball it as best as you can and that's going to get this to the proper level here. You don't want this to be tilted or anything like that. You'll get weird air pockets in here. You won't get the right amount of oil in there. All right, now we pump. See it starting to go through the tube there. Starts to fill up the lower unit. And what you're going to do is watch your vent hole up here when it starts to come out. And it's pretty much going to take this entire bottle, which is 32 ounces of fluid. All right, here it comes. So there's the first amount that comes out. Now, you don't just let it come out and then cap it right now and stop. I let it sit for a second, and I'll slowly add some till it gets to the top, and then I'll kind of let it level off and drain. There comes a bunch. See all the air coming out of there? So I kind of let that sit for a minute. Now's a good time to get your gasket and stuff ready. So as far as your little crush washer and stuff goes, it's got a metal side. I don't know if you can see that or not. It's kind of see-through a little bit, and then the other side, it's not as pronounced on the metal. So I normally put the darker side there towards the head of the screw, and then that is what's going to screw in here. All right, so you got that done, and clean that up a little bit, maybe put a little bit on the washer there, and then get this started by hand. Then I'm going to snug this up with a screwdriver. Of course, I know it's a critical component, and they put a slotted screwdriver as the fastener. So it's again, tight's tight, too tight's broke. All right, so I'll clean this up here, and then we'll put the plug into the drain. All right, now here comes the fun part. Definitely get a little bit of oil on your hands and stuff like that. So get your set screw, your drain screw ready, put your new gasket on there, and then we're going to take this out here and put the set screw in. Now when you take this out, since you put your vent screw in first already up top, once again, you're not going to lose a whole lot out of here, but there's going to be a little bit that comes out. Get your 10mm again, and then get this snugged down. Once again, tight's tight. You don't want to go too wild on it. And that is that on changing lower unit oil on a Torquemaster 2, or pretty much any other standard Gearcase. Sometimes instead of the vent being under here, it'll just be over here, but on the same side as your vent plug on your motor. While you're in here, always check this main seal here. Make sure there's no fishing line, anything else wrapped around there that can eat into this main seal. This one looks clean, nothing wrapped around it, so I'm going to go ahead and wipe off the skeg, and then we will put the prop back on. All right, then we slide our prop back on here. Get the splines lined up. Get seated all the way, and then we're going to put the prop washers and nut back on and snug that down. All right, that's tight. So hopefully if you're looking for a guide to help you out, this kind of answer some of your questions, or at least show you step by step kind of what's going on. You don't need a ton of mechanical knowledge or tools or anything like that to do this basic maintenance. Just keep your motor running strong. So thanks for watching, guys.